Hello and welcome to another episode of the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast, coming to you live at 7 a.m. Central on a Friday in December on YouTube with Matt, Kai, and Jim. I'm Kai. I'm the middle one. Matthew is celebrating his daughter's first birthday today, Jim. I believe it's her first birthday. She's very excited, so Matt is going to tell her happy birthday, and then he will be back on the stream. Jim is here. I'm here, and we're ready to talk college basketball because that's what this podcast does. Jim, hi, how are you?
I'm great. Nobody ever wakes me up with balloons on my birthday. It's a real shame. Gemma's or Weave Baby One, I guess maybe I should bleep out the name. Just
Do it.
getting spoiled this morning. Lucky her, lucky Weave Baby. But yeah, Kai, there's plenty to discuss, even with a finals week lull in the schedule. Both Saturday slates, the one in the past and the one looking ahead, are really strong. Clearly, college hoops is taking back the weekend, which is good because college football is winding down before bowl season and playoff season. So yeah, ready to dig in with you and eventually Matt.
Yeah, really nice. They're thinking of the students, Jim. It's finals. Let's put 100 plus games on Saturday. The kids can't play on weekdays. They're focused on class. That's their
So
number one
focused,
priority
just
is class.
absolutely locked in.
All those millionaires sitting in Geology 1000, just writing notes, having
That's
fun.
right, Kai. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, standard show today, fellas out there and ladies out there. Roots Roundup. We've saw that. Excuse me. Three-man thoughts, game previews, and then reviews. We have three new reviews at the end of the show. Stick around if you'd like. There's a couple questions in there. Good reviews. 5 stars.
Oh,
Follow
baby.
us on Instagram, Three Man Weave, 3MW underscore CBB, Twitter as well. Subscribe to the podcast, please, on Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are temporarily coming to you live in a pretty run of the mill standard Zoom fashion. We don't have fancy graphics right now while we work on the software that's been malfunctioning the last couple weeks. Hopefully, I can get that fixed. But I'm an accountant and a college basketball enthusiast. I'm not really a software technology guy, but I'm going to hopefully figure it out, Jim. We'll see.
I believe in you,
TBD.
Kai. Someone in our chat said they almost emailed you about OBS. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, if there are OBS
Why
experts out
not?
here,
Uh,
send an email to 3manweave100 at gmail.com.
Uh, please do. I'm out of ideas. Okay. And then finally, join Basket Under Review. That is our collaboration along with Chili Donovan, along with a bunch of very, very talented writers, podcasters, videoers about college basketball. That's the link is in the description, basketunderreview.com. It's $10 a month. It gets you access to a ton of articles pumping out every single day, shows, and of course the Discord, which is our favorite part because we're in there every single day talking ball, talking betting, talking normal college basketball outside of betting. Wherever your heart desires, there's plenty of channels in there. If you're intimidated by the Discord, the format of it, don't worry. Again, not an expert in technology, learned it pretty quick. I know you can as well. Uh, I went to a concert last night, Jim. That's my personal corner. I saw Third Eye Blind. They're one of my favorite bands growing up, so that was a real treat. Stephen
And
Jenkins, the lead singer, is 61 years old. That's just impossible. I saw
y-
Yellow Card was also there, Jim.
yeah, baby,
Yes.
come on, you gonna put Ocean Avenue just off
It,
to the side there?
honestly, yeah, they really they wailed, if
I
you want to
bet
call
they
it. Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
I
he's
bet
pretty
they
old
did.
too. He's upper 40s, I think now.
I
So that was
donated
fun.
blood yesterday, Kai. I saved
That
lives.
sounds way better. Good job, Jim.
Yeah, I'm
Pat
proud
on
of
the back for
myself. All
Jim.
right, woohoo!
I oops, meant to start timing, but I didn't. So I'll go back and do timestamps later. Okay. That's behind the scenes. Let's get into the show. Roots Roundup time. Jim's going to start us off with news and notes. Matthew will be back soon.
Yeah, let's hope so. Before we get into Roots Roundup, our little news and notes section, going to give a shout out to CBB Analytics, the best analytics site in the college basketball world. Really, just a tremendous resource. It's been awesome for me throughout preview season and even into my other show, Stats by Will and Jim, another option under Basket Under Review. So check that out. But a great place to get into the weeds of the numbers. You've got on off, you've got lineup combinations, you've got incredible shot charts. You've got really nuanced statistics. You can find out who's leading the country in dunks. You can find out who has the most passer to scorer combinations in the entire country.
Hmm.
It's typically a Braden Smith to Trey Kaufman-Renn statistic, or it was last year. But then with the way Jeremy Fears is passing the ball, finding an option on Michigan State, you can also research that. Individual stats, team stats. They've got an all-in-one metric to measure player impact. Just anything you can imagine in the college hoop statistics world, Nick and the team at CBB Analytics are bringing it to you. And if you want to get a little discount, you can use promo code WEAVE for $40 off your subscription. Make sure to do that. Promo code WEAVE. If you are on a coaching staff or something, you want the deluxe Holy F tier, then we can get you hooked up for that as well. Just DM us or email us. Happy to do that. But otherwise, use that promo code WEAVE. Get access to CBB Analytics and the wealth of knowledge that is available at cbbanalytics.com. Okay, into Roots Roundup, Kai. We're going to start with a little bit of coaching news, and it's not quite news, but we just got to take a look at what's going on at Boston College with Earl Grant getting a little too active with his Twitter fingers, especially considering the performance of the team. He was going back and forth with fans. If they were like, hey, I've been coming to games, but I'm really disappointed in the team, he just says, keep coming. And he's like mad at fans that aren't showing up.
Yeah.
And he did this the day before they then went and lost to in-state rival UMass, which gives them losses to FAU, Central Connecticut, Davidson, Tulane, LSU, UMass.
Hmm.
It's not looking good in Chestnut Hill.
No, I think he's about done. This is a weird thing. I thought I was a unicorn and saw this on my like algorithm. I was like, what the heck? What is Earl Grant doing? Guys kept saying, hey, yeah, we're disappointed with the program. He goes, if you haven't been to every game, I don't want to hear from you. First of all, there are a lot of diehard fans that have not been to every single game of their sports team. I mean, my goodness. Jim, you like the Packers. How many games you've been to this year? One?
Yeah, and if you don't like live in Boston,
Holy
you're not
cow.
allowed to be a fan? What an insane
What a weird
perspective.
statement. Also, just have some awareness, man. Your team's terrible. You're in the ACC. I think they need to bump down. I've been saying this for a couple of years. A10. Like they just lost. I mean, come on. This team has no resources to be at that level.
Yeah, it's since Al Skinner was running the flex, they have not been competitive. Even like Jim Christian had two pros on the team and they barely cracked like the top 75. Actually, no, they were 77th in Ken Palm, which Earl Grant finished 71st. It was their highest finish since Steve Donahue's first year in 2011. They have not been a top 60 team since 2007. It's just
Yeah.
not an ACC program. But that does not mean your coach should go and lash out at fans and I don't
Yes.
know, make a scene of things. Maybe if you're like the new hire that's hyping the fan base up, go for it. But when you're in the fifth year at the program and it looks like it's going to be one of the worst years in your tenure there, you just stop it. Like you said, Kai, self-awareness, realize how how it looks, the optics of this.
I think one last thing he said in a press conference after the loss, he was like, "We have the best fans in the world." No, you don't. Uh, You have decent fans. You don't have the best in the world. You're Boston
Yeah,
College.
well, he's got to say it, I guess, after
You're Boston
razzing them
College.
all on Twitter. But yeah, just a bizarre situation there. Kind of seems like the door is open and he will be
Yeah.
shoved out it coming this offseason. All right, injury news, Kai. Way too extensive of a section this week. Makes me
Mm.
sad, makes me frown. We'll start with Josh Hubbard of Mississippi State. Not a season-ending injury, which, you kind of spooked me in our internal group chat with a potential Achilles tear.
Yeah, I thought it was at first. I was like, oh God, that's not good. It was
Yeah.
not, thankfully.
Fortunately, just an ankle. TBD on the timetable. Chris Jans hasn't announced it, but this is an All-American caliber player playing for a team that is already sort of circling the drain. Mississippi State has been really bad this year, sinking towards the
Mhm.
bottom of the SEC, and it could get really bleak if this guy is gone. I mean, he does everything for them offensively.
Yeah, he means a lot. I was going to pull up CVB analytics to see if we can get some cute stats, but they haven't beaten a single team inside the top 100, and they've played five of them. It's just not a good situation right now. And he is their engine. He is one of the highest used players in the country. He's one of the most important players to his team in the country. And now, Jim, you get Jaden Epps all the time. Fast and furious. It worked for Georgetown. Why won't it work for Mississippi State?
Yeah, curiously, Kai, he is a sixth percentile net rating. They're 23
That's
points
funny.
better per 100 when he's off the
Hey,
floor.
okay.
I'm not really
Flawed
buying
statistic.
that.
Flawed statistic.
Yes, well, yeah, it's small sample type stuff. Looking back at last year, just to maybe give a better picture, he was in the 92nd percentile of net rating.
Okay, that
So
fits my
you get,
narrative better, Jim. So I'm gonna go with that one.
yeah, fits, it extends more towards the course of a season. I don't think this team is better without Josh Hubbard. That's all I will say. And I think if he misses an extended period of time, they're going to sink even further.
Hmm.
Marcus Burton for Notre Dame, another smaller scoring guard akin to Josh Hubbard. He is out for an extended period of time. Notre Dame was able to get a big victory over TCU in overtime, Kai, without him. They looked a lot better. Um, is that a thing you believe going forward, actual Ewing theory relative to what we just talked about with Hubbard?
I thought they were kind of screwed, but then they beat TCU and they beat Idaho. They covered against Idaho. You say Idaho, oh, big deal. Hey, Idaho's a pretty good team, and they extended late, and you're 2-0 against the spread without your best player. Maybe they're going to be okay. They really don't have a terrible resume. They have a 1 point loss to Ohio State. If that flipped and they won that game on the road, that's a tournament resume. I don't think our Missouri Tigers, Jim, are going to be any good. So that loss is probably going to go downhill a little bit. So, excuse me,
Yeah.
win. It's going to go downhill a little bit. But yeah, it still sucks for Shrewsbury, who seems to have finally gotten a little something going this year. And then, boom, this happens.
Yeah, there's a chance it ends up working. They played a ton through Jalen Harrelson, the freshman, just going a little booty ball. We know that Shrewsbury can win with booty ball if he's
Hmm.
got a guy that can score one-on-one. Perhaps that ends up being the route they go. Last year when Burton was out, they lost in overtime to Rutgers, kind of hung around with Houston, and then it started to wear on them. Creighton beat them by 4. Georgia beat them by 21. Hey, they beat Syracuse without Josh Hubbard last year. So
Yeah.
good job. Good
Yeah.
job, Syracuse. But then lost to Georgia Tech early in ACC play. The best version, I think, still has him, but perhaps they kind of figure out other ways to offense because with Burton, it ends up being a lot of like, all right, help, you do your thing, and the rest of
Hmm.
the guys will stand around. So I'm curious if Harrelson has a big breakout. I mean, he's had 20 points in the last 2 games, 9 assists against TCU. He can be a bowling ball type creator in the paint. All right, some slightly lesser injuries, not true stars, but Connor Segan for Nebraska is out for the season, taking away a shooter from that team. We're going to discuss the Huskers in one of my thoughts, so we'll holster that. Marion Dickerson for USC, the reigning Horizon Defensive Player of the Year that transferred out to the West Coast. He is out 3 to 4 months, basically the season. Really starting to sap the depth a little bit of USC. They need to get Rodney Rice back healthy. And then Cade Phillips of Tennessee, Kai, out for the year with a shoulder issue.
Hmm.
Clearly was a different player from last year. Like wasn't bringing the same highlight reel type attacks to the rim. The athleticism was kind of neutered by his unwillingness to be extremely physical. He's out for the season. Mega deep front court for Tennessee. And this just means more Jalen Carey, more Dwayne Brown. I think they'll be okay.
Hmm.
Tennessee's got other issues to resolve where they just don't have a lot of scoring outside of their top 2 guys.
Yeah, I don't really care about this one, to be honest. He was starting. I'm not sure he should have been. I think they have better options.
Yeah, it was weird when he and Boswell were on the court together, and it's 2 guys that were just like
Yeah.
scared of the basket. It,
Hmm.
it, it just didn't work. So perhaps some upside there too, especially with Carey being a real actual offensive piece so far this season. Kai, that is it for Roots Roundup. Unfortunately, it was just Earl Grant and injuries. That's
Yes.
kind of a bleak section this week, but I'm going to hand it back to you for We've Saw That.
We saw that. Still no Matthew. Still no Matthew as he celebrates his beautiful daughter. Headliners. Let's talk about them. The big boys. What happened this past week? I always look back at this section, Jim, when I don't have much preparing on it, and I go, "Oh yeah, that happened this week," and it feels like it happened a million years ago. Well, Iowa State. I have a thought on them, but we will discuss what they just did to Purdue. They beat them by 23 at Mackey, and I watched this game. They just freaking decimated them in the second half. They just went to town. Very impressive. Again, I will wax poetically about the clones in a bit, but wow. I won't say it's the most impressive one in the season because Michigan has done stuff that no team should ever be able to do, but it's up there, Jim. We know Mackey is incredible.
Yeah, it was a competitive first half. You're like, all right, going to be a good game. Excited to see how this one plays out. And then out of halftime, Iowa State scored on like 18 of 20 possessions. They were 14 to 16 from the field, 5 of 5 from three. It just turned into a rout. all of a sudden, and they got enough stops. I'll save like further big picture thoughts. But man, just what a performance! I think it was like the biggest loss by biggest home non-conference loss by a team ranked number one ever, tied
Wow.
for it. So and Purdue's biggest loss at Mackey at home.
Hi, Matt.
Hello. Greetings, Governor.
How about that Purdue game?
Yeah, Iowa State pretty good.
Pretty good. I got a thought on them.
I
Would you like to
saw
hear it a little
that.
later? Yes.
I saw that. We talked Iowa State yet? Or no?
We have not. Do you want to sneak that in now or do you want to,
Wait till the
did you
Iowa
watch
State
the
talk.
game? Hawkeyes, good job, I guess, for a little
Yeah, that
bit.
was a respect game for Iowa State. I think that
Hmm.
was sort of you needed to prove you belonged at that caliber of stage after
You mean
the Sparty
Iowa?
game. Right? Iowa,
Iowa
correct?
needed to prove, yes.
Yes, I think they did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they like were even on the boards on both ends of the floor, which I thought was staggeringly impressive because Iowa State can bully you.
continue to
So
beat the drum for play Brendenhausen. I don't understand.
Agree.
It's such a
and more
weird.
Fulguris and get Kale Combs off the floor. Just get him off the floor. He does nothing.
Yeah, why isn't Hausen transferring right now? You're playing 4 minutes a game. Maybe he's making like, I don't know, a bunch of money. Could be.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
when you fake the injury so you can get the medical red shirt.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
if you want to play college basketball,
Most
uh,
coaches won't allude to it, but some will just be like, "Yeah, he's gonna redshirt and transfer." It's just like, yeah, okay, we get
Yeah.
it.
Duke won at Michigan State, and Duke's really good. They might be the best team in the country, Matt. I know what Michigan's doing. I saw Iowa State. Duke is just kind of inevitable right now.
I think Michigan's a little better, but yeah, hard to argue with that result. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, defensively, and Jim and I were discussing John Shire, really, really, really good X and O on the chessboard stuff. I think makes me take them more seriously. Next to some great programs with great coaches.
Yeah, in the end of that game, they ran a like Cam Boozer as point guard, Isaiah Evans slip a ball screen and get a flare, and he ended up getting fouled on a three. It would have been an open look if they didn't hack him. And then I love the zone wrinkle. I think a lot of teams should probably try zoning Michigan State at times this year. You're going to get hurt on the offensive glass for sure, but you got to dare them to make shots. You got to keep them out of the lane. You'll probably give up a lob dunk to Cohen Carr on a back screen or something, but stick with it a little bit. And I think it can disrupt the flow of a team that likes to get in transition. John Shire pulled some really smart levers in this game.
Bad Nashville experience for the SEC. Ironic because I think Nashville is where they have their tournament every single year. Illinois takes down Tennessee. Talked about Cade Phillips briefly. Tennessee has been not so good this season. Obviously, Illinois a very good team, top 10 in KenPom, but still not a great result for the Vols. And then Kentucky, man, continues its jaunt into irrelevance. Still highly rated in KenPom, still without their full squad, so there's a little bit of hope in the Wildcats' mind, but they lost by 35 to Gonzaga, and it was never close. And Graham Ike was kind of hurt as well. It didn't really matter.
If you take out the Q4 beatdowns that Kentucky is putting on teams, it's not the same story. Like if you filter down to Q1 or
Hmm.
Q2 at Bart Torvik, they are 99th. Like they're just
Wild.
their analytical credit right now is because yes, they can overwhelm bad teams athletically. They have done that, but against good competition, it's pretty bleak. And in this game, they got down 19-2 to start and just rolled on over Matthew, assumed the position, as you like to say. No fight whatsoever. Missed a couple jumpers early, said, screw it, let's get out of here. We don't want to be here. It doesn't seem like they like each other. It's a problem. Gonzaga rocks. I'm not going to
Yeah,
hold the Michigan performance against them, but Kentucky, show me a little bit of care, fight. You had it against Louisville. You came back at the Yum Center.
right,
Nothing at all against the Zags.
right. Like we talked about with Iowa, it's like okay, you lost it in Cyhawk, but that was like okay, respectable effort. We get it, but to come off the UNC debacle where you didn't score for 10 minutes and then to get blown out. Um, Jaden Clayton's coming back soon. Feels like maybe what was the year of Notre Dame? We're on the bubble with Matt
Hmm.
Farrell and
Bonzie
who's
Colson was out.
what if Kentucky gets Quaintance back and maybe they round up a good SEC? And I think there's going to be a little bit of selection bias in terms of what games matter and what games didn't. And obviously, the Kentucky name brand carries a lot of weight. I think this is going to be one of the more fascinating bubble conversations. Maybe I'm overreacting calling them a bubble team, but right now it's like they're not a tournament team right now, like just based on what we've seen, based on the
Well,
actual results.
at least we have a little precedence. They're 0-4 now against Q1. Uh, North Carolina was what, 1-11 against Q1 last year and made the tournament. I know they had a
What is
little
sorry? What is Bart's projected bubble thing? That's always a useful tool. Like bubble
Uh,
future looking, not like right now. Basically, does he have
you've
them?
got like projections to make the tournament odds, but
Yeah,
I will say for wins above bubble, I have it pulled up right now per Bart, they're
yeah.
100th
Hmm,
because
I
they
mean,
pretty good.
haven't beaten anybody good. They don't have any bad losses, so like it's only negative point 0.8, but they're below the Mendoza line. They're even with like Northern Iowa and Siena and UC Santa Barbara. Like that's not getting you in the tournament.
Money can't buy you happiness. That's the lesson there for Kentucky.
it's funny because last year was like I think a really tight knit group. They like really talked about that. I think that was an actual thing.
Yeah,
I
he
think
just
Pope did a
got
nice job. There was a good fit,
no
good mesh of
chemistry.
dudes. But
A couple.
61% chance of being in, Matthew, per Bart's tourney
Okay,
cast
okay,
projections.
okay,
that
okay.
feels right. I mean, I think they're a favorite to make it. You have so many. The SEC gives you so many chances. So many chances.
Couple other results here. Arizona beat Auburn by almost 30. Arizona is number one in the country in the AP poll, but I feel like they haven't been in the sphere of most talked about teams recently. And hey, reminder, they're really good and they could be the best team in the country. Sure, I've watched them as well, and I've been equally as impressed by them as I have been with the Dukes, the Iowa States, the Michigans of the world. So Arizona, wow, kind of stomping foes.
Yeah, they're just like overwhelming you athletically in the paint. Like they
Yeah,
never take threes. They're 363rd in attempt rate. And they haven't done anything wrong. I'm surprised they're only sixth in Ken Palm. I guess like Florida by 6 isn't good enough right now, or UCLA by 4 isn't quite good enough.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, they're winning their Q4 games by 30 instead of 45. But man, that Auburn decimation, I think, is like, oh yeah, that's okay. That's the ceiling of this team. That's what they're capable of.
The elites are starting to separate themselves. Matthew, you have no take on that one, but how about your Indiana Hoosiers getting punked by
Yeah.
Louisville? They came back and made it semi-close at the end, but Louisville, impressive in that game.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of did the K State thing to Penn State. Penn State, who I brought up on our last pod, I think is like, ooh, maybe they're better than you think, like Seton Hall. And then like, no, that was just sorry, that was whiff. Still don't know a lot about Indiana. Okay, one of the sort of the most talked about teams of the offseason. I just don't know really what they are yet,
Can
even
I
at this
interest
point.
you in Indiana at Kentucky tomorrow, Matt?
The
Yeah,
battles of what do we know about each team? Who
Yeah.
knows?
that's going to be very interesting.
It will be.
Yes.
I think the Hoosiers might come in
Win?
there and
I think
yeah, I do.
they're probably going to win. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think so too.
Kim Palm's got them 4-point dogs. I don't know if the market's going to say they are.
I
I
think
think
it's
they're
gonna be
going
around
to,
pick.
yeah, me too. Me
Just a
too. These last three contests, I watched all of them. Wow. What do you know? Yeah, Kansas just killed Mizzou
so
in
sick of your stupid Tigers. Like just
the
tired of
wonderful
it.
rivalry. Darren Peterson's back, of course, and I tweeted tongue in cheek that, yep, Bill Self, he wouldn't let Peter, or he made sure Peterson was back for this game, not the UConn game, which obviously matters a lot more. Got a lot of flack saying, yeah, hey, it wasn't his
It was very
call.
Mick Cronin of you, Kai.
It's
Mick
like,
Cronin's quote about
I
like,
was
"Oh, everyone's
like,
back against us." I'm sure Nate Biddle's going to come
Yeah.
back and get him
Wah.
played. So you and
it
Mick
was
are in
more
a
so, yeah, you care about this rivalry, Bill Self. Quit acting like you're above it. Um, yeah, man, I know it's his freaking handlers that are telling him to sit out of this game, but you don't think Bill Self's having conversations with them every single day, say we need him back from Mizzou? To be clear, not the reason Mizzou lost, Jim. Mizzou's horrible. They're not a tournament team. It wasn't
No.
fun getting our butts kicked.
No, and it wasn't fun beating Alabama State by single digits despite shooting 50% from three. That also
Yikes.
didn't get me real excited. They just don't really play a lot of defense. And what do you know? It's Dennis Gates again. I mean, they're 117th in defense. Why are they worse on defense this year than last year? Like they got Mitchell, they got Robinson, Sebastian Mack. I mean, they've got poor defenders in the front court. They're playing a lot of Luke Northweather, which is not
Yeah.
going to amp up your defense, but it's just a staff that has no effing clue how to coordinate a defense. And they've shown it year after year, no matter who the players are on the team. I've had enough, Kai. I'm sick of it, especially with the crap schedule they throw at us and show
Yeah.
up to these 9 bye games. No thanks.
It's sad. Um, You don't need to comment on Mizzou, Matthew.
Well, no, I will. I was sort of. I think you should lean into like the 2023 defense, where you just go all in on steals and turnovers, but you don't have a Demoy Hodge on this team. You don't have like a guy who's just like a super thief of sorts. But like that worked out okay generally. Like your defense in SEC play comparatively wasn't. It was their 10th, which wasn't good, but compared to the 180th overall and how good you were offensively, it was fine. Maybe you just go that route. I don't know. I don't have answers. I'm
Yeah.
frustrated. I'm tired of losing money but on your dumb institution.
You shouldn't bet on them.
Tired of it.
They're really bad. It just bad. Florida, watch this game against UConn. Great game. They lost again. They're 5-4 in the season now. The national champs, the defending champs, not looking as such. UConn has been looking fantastic. Florida's guards, Xavier Lee had a really good game against UConn, but man, their offense is basically Xavier Lee create, man. Like go dribble around, and he does way too much for me. Tommy's Hauk, Hurley called him an All-American and like a lottery pick. Yeah, he's freaking awesome. Make him your fulcrum on the offensive end. I really think you can do that. It's too much Lee. And Flan's horrible. At least he was against UConn in this game.
Yeah, when are these two going to make shots? It's like insane. I mean, Lee's been okay lately. He was decent against UConn, but he just can't make threes. Fland can't make threes, and just so much falls on the front court. And yes, they got a healthy Condon back, and like I feel bad because Florida has played really well against UConn, against Duke, and I think they've actually had, better vibes to them, but the players just aren't good enough right now. And that could continue to be an issue. They get George Washington and St. Francis and Colgate, three teams that I don't know if they can get any stops. So perhaps the offense finally breaks out. But they've got to find it before SEC play right now and find a way to win those close games late.
I think they'll be okay. I think I don't like the shot selection a lot of times, but I think you're going to get a little bit of Fland and Lee will start to make a few more shots than they are right now. And again, when you have the stability of the offensive glass like they do, it allows them to. It's why they've been competitive in every close game, right? Despite some like, what are we doing shot selection, they've still been there. So I think they're going to be okay.
Last game here, this one, my jaw was on the floor as BYU overcame a 22-point deficit against Clemson to win against the Tigers. Clemson punked them in the first half. We're up by, again, like I said, 22 points. Clemson's a weird team. I don't know what to think about them. Ironically, they did the opposite against Alabama. They were down 19 and then stormed back and took the lead before ultimately losing to Alabama. It feels like a money ball team, Clemson, almost. Like there's no stars. I don't think they're that good, to be honest, still. I think it's kind of just like, whatever. But the results have been decent besides the loss to Georgetown.
Yeah, this was like the big Debanza coming out party second half. I mean, not coming out party. Everybody knows who he is, well followed, well paid. But monster second half. People like, did we forget about him for National Player of the Year? Like that's the narratives coming out of this. Maybe he's not Cam Boozer yet, but I think Clemson's rock solid. They just, like you
Yeah.
said, Kai. I think not having they don't know what their best lineup is quite yet, who their go-to guy should be, and that has hurt them in the stretch, down the stretch of close games. Like Nick Davidson being kind of a zero is
Mm.
really strange. Like their best front court right now is definitely Godfrey and Welling together. Their freshman guards are a little better than their veteran guards. They don't know how to balance that. I think it's kind of a credit to them. They've been as competitive as they have been against good teams away from home, despite some of those questions that they're still sorting out.
And Nick Davidson had like a pretty bad objectively bad start to the year. There's a lot made like it's a very emotional decision for him to go to Clemson because his dad I think had just passed away and he had ties there, and I just think it's been like weighing on him. And Brownell was like frustrated with him after the most recent couple of games, but then kind of started to break out. But still, the fact that we thought he'd be like the epicenter of this team, it's like now they're actually just getting a ton of contributions from other dudes. Their freshmen have been really good. Yeah, Brad Brownell. It's like I'll eventually once be like too high on Clemson, like maybe once in my life, but this year yet again, I was like, I don't know. I think I ranked them way too low in my ACC rankings, which was stupid.
Dylan Hunter's
Idiot.
been better than I expected. I'll
And
say
that's
that.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure an announcer confused him with Chase Hunter, the actual good hunter from the last 4 years. But no matter, he's still been pretty solid. I'll just say Rob Wright's awesome. He had a buzzer beater to win this game. I thought Kevin Young made a really stupid decision, and BYU lucked into this win. They inbounded the ball with 5 seconds. They wasted 4 seconds getting up the floor and called a timeout with 1 second to go, and then they happened to pass into Rob Wright, and he made a 30-footer. They got
Yeah, that
lucky. They got
was
lucky.
results over process there.
Yeah,
The process was bad, outright bad, and
horrible.
they got bailed out by that miracle shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird thing with Clemson, real quick. Dylan Hunter, second percentile in on-off net rating. Like they're way better when he's off the floor because I think their freshman guards are good. But last year he was like 98th
wow. I
in
mean,
on-off. It's a weird flip for him
yeah.
because it's in a bigger role this year. But their freshman guards are good, like Buckner and Foster. Those guys can play.
Okay, moving on. A couple notables here. Michigan. I mean, my God, they've now won 6 straight games by over 25 points, which is crazy. They beat Rutgers by 41. They beat Villanova by 28. I saw too many tweets saying, "Well, it's Villanova." Okay, big deal. They beat them by 28. Guys, they beat them by 28. They just beat Gonzaga by 40. What do you need to see? This team is historically good already. I think Jim has a thought on them later. It's insane. I don't really get it because I watched the Michigan game and I was impressed, but not like I wasn't saying, "Holy God, this team's going to be the national title winner."
No, I actually don't have a thought, but yeah, there's like every outlet corner of the college basketball world was like they're the fourth ranked Ken Palm team ever by net rating right now compared to like
And it's
99 Duke
early.
and yeah, which typically it does take longer for a team to separate itself from the pack. But when you just consistently mega pummel everyone, like they were up by 35 on Villanova in a heartbeat. Like they've scored 50 plus in every first half except the San Diego State game where they had 45. Like they're just unstoppable right now. They're first in 2 point percentage offense and 2 point percentage defense while playing the number six schedule, excuse me. Like that's insane. It makes no sense. Their point scoring distribution super even. Mara is like the big part of it to me, like what he takes away at the rim, but
Yeah.
everybody's playing well on this team, and it seems like they've got really good vibes right now.
Yeah, just to think of, I just remember what the impact Mara had last year at UCLA and his sort of mini surgence, and now you pair him with the size they had. It's pretty. If you're gonna get him, I think Wake and TCU had their best shots because I think their freshmen are just gonna get better, and just so much depth. I mean, I think maybe they see a team that pressures. Maybe we see some, Elliot Cadeau turnover things, or maybe you double Mara and you force him to play out of the post. But I don't know. You're gonna have to. There's yet to be a blueprint to scheme against their size. One of those, top end teams going with like 2, 3 bigs, basically. Size, size, size. Bigger is better.
Matt, Dusty May or Tom Izzo?
Dusty Matt. I feel good about that ranking. I stand by it.
No one's really talking about that ranking, are they? Huh,
No, it's fine.
huh.
Hey, I'm not. I don't. It's a bad take by me. I shouldn't have crowned McCollum better than Izzo.
I don't think we
Izzo's been
can.
awesome this year.
I think Ben McCollum is a fantastic coach. I don't. Anyways, Xavier, they took down Cincy in the crosstown shootout. Cincinnati, once again, disappointing. Their offense is like, I think we talked about last podcast, horrible. Wes Miller probably is going to be fired. If he's not, I don't know what you're doing as an AD at Cincy. Trey Carroll had a career game, had 30 points. Matt's boy, Trey Carroll, for Xavier. Also, don't look now. Musketeers 5-1 against the spread and straight up after the Iowa loss. They've been a lot better. The Big East could certainly use them to be better.
Yeah, I've got a thought on the Big East, and Xavier's like lurking as a potential decent team in a league that desperately needs teams to emerge. But they've really leaned into much more of a 3 point identity. Milicevic at center spaces the court, and then Carroll just has room to go to work. So I respect Richard Pitino for like completely shifting their identity. I think they're trying to be too conventional, and he's like, "Wow, we're not good enough to do that. So let's try something different."
Okay, random. I thought, sorry, Matthew, you didn't want him to come in there hot. Nope, nothing.
Oh, wait, sorry. On what are we talking about?
Well, I was going to say Xavier, but I mentioned Trey
Crosstown
Carroll.
shootout.
I know you
Make
love
fun
Trey
of Cincinnati
Oh,
Carroll.
if you
yeah,
want
sorry. I
to.
was looking
Yeah.
up I was caught in my all right, always right the rabbit hole. But all right has been a big part of their thing.
Yeah,
Roddy Anderson, I'm glad that he's been demoted. That was a good
I,
thing for
I
that team.
think yeah, I think you probably draw a straight line of Roddy Anderson playing less and Xavier playing
Exactly.
better. Yeah. Okay, buzzer beaters. Besides the Rob Wright buzzer beater, Milwaukee, Seth Hubbard, Toledo transfer, Western Michigan
Yeah,
transfer, both,
I think both.
both
Both.
beat Robert Morris on a tip in. in the Horizon battle. Yes, conference play has started. And Northern Colorado, Ring Nieri, I pronounced that wrong, beat South Dakota in the Big Sky Summit Challenge. South Dakota, impressive effort by them, but they fall just short to the Bears, the real UNC, as we like to say.
Yeah,
And then
dramatic tip-ins, Kai. Those are fun.
dramatic
Just like at the
tip-ins,
buzzer.
college
The
basketball.
Hubbard one was like a volleyball tap towards the basket and it happened to go in. And then he like did the Jalen Suggs jump on the scorer's table and flash the jersey.
I actually have one more that I remember. CSUN, buzzer beater three, Davis to beat Fresno. I think it was 2 nights ago. CSUN was killing them. Fresno comes back and it wasn't a buzzer beater. You're right. He hit it with
Yeah.
2 seconds left.
Yeah. It was like 1.5 left.
Good point. Good point. Okay, we'll move on.
That game was erratic as hell, up and down. Look
It
at
Yeah,
was
that
man.
Ken Palm game
fun.
flow of that. Yeah.
CSUN's got some athletes. A couple
That's Newman's. I
dudes.
mean, last year they had this year's team's like a little bit less talented, but that's like his thing. They just have like really dynamic athletes for sure. That is
Larry Hughes.
glaring.
Matt's dude, Lamar Wilkerson, Indiana, 44 points against Penn State. That's pretty good. 44, 4, 4, 3 stat line. He made 10 threes. I think that's an Indiana record, or at least tied it. Good job, Matt. You got a pretty good shooter. He's an incredible. He might be the best shooter in the country.
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, Indiana's gonna have some run really hot nights with him and DeVries, man. Just like two guys that can just get liquid lava hot and from deep too. So, but there's some volatility. There's some risk with that approach too, because they still don't have that five position figured out.
I want to know the national leaders in 3-point attempts because DeVries and Wilkerson have to be up there. They've both shot over 83s already this season. Pretty crazy.
Kai, I'm on that. I'll get it for you in a second.
Thank you. And I will finish off with noting that George Washington lost at home to Delaware as a 24-point favorite. What the heck? Man, the Revolutionaries, as they're now called, were in pretty good shape for, I mean, I don't think they were ever going to get in that large bid, but you could think about it. And I guess they lost to McNeese and Murray as well. But losing to Delaware
Hey,
as a 20
those are
plus
like
point
Q1,
favorite,
Q2 losses right now. So
just horrible, man. And that's kind of what we expected though from this team. It was like, yeah, they're really good, but we know they're not like a stalwart like a Dayton or a VCU, a blue blood in the A10, Matt, if you will.
you want a GW to at least be like a good win for other
Yeah.
teams, or not a bad loss, or if they had a chance to beat Florida this weekend, like that would have moved the needle. But now it's just like you don't have a chance. They're too deep and too talented to have lost to this short-handed bad Delaware team. That is like an egregious eyesore for both them and unfortunately the A10.
Yep, it sucks. I just hate that this is like sort of the system we're in, where you're if you as an A10 team, you feel like deflated in terms of your at-large hope, just because your dumbass partner can't beat the Blue Hens. So, and the A10's good. That's the sad part. Like George Mason's really good. SLU's really good. Like there's some, VCU. I have a little bit of.
VCU's good, but just lost at home to New Mexico.
Yeah, I know. Mountain West on the other hand of the spectrum, pretty nice week last week for sure.
Boise.
GW grabbed 17 to 4 offensive rebounds. They won the turnover battle. They shot more free throws. They made more free throws. They never led against Delaware.
Yeah, it's bad.
Hmm.
Kai, so the leaders in 3-point attempts, TJ Johnson of VMI, 113.
Okay.
Bryson Blaine, Charleston Southern, 108. And then Honor Huff is leading the Power 5 contingent at West Virginia with 104 in 11 games. So he is getting them up, especially for a team that plays super slowly. He has used quite a bit of possessions, just bombing away. But hey, he makes them. He's also leading the country in makes at 44.
Yeah, TJ Johnson just bombs for VMI. Watch a little bit of him. VMI is horrible, but TJ Johnson, he has shot yeah, against Buffalo, he shot 18 threes. Man, to have that green light would be pretty awesome. He's sub 30 right now, but he's a better shooter than that.
He's putting them up. Hey,
Yeah,
they can't
he's
go in
putting
if
them
you don't
up.
fire. Yeah.
Okay, that does it for We've Saw That. We're going to head into three-man thoughts. Before we do, Home Field Apparel. That's where you should shop for the holiday season. They have the best college hoops, college basketball, and college football and other college gear in the game. Comfy sweatshirts, t-shirts, hoodies, jackets now, released new jackets, in fact. Hats, I'm sure they're comfy as well. I don't own a Home Field hat. though I probably will eventually.
Hmm.
Joggers, sweatpants, it's all good from home field. I'm wearing their Mizzou hoodie right now. It's fantastic. I have a million pieces of Mizzou gear. Every single year for Secret Santa, I ask my whoever my sibling is that's my Secret Santa person to pick a school. Pick any shirt you want on home field site. Pick a school, buy me a shirt. I of course have stipulations. No Kansas, no any teams I don't like. But that's what I do. And if you go to homefieldapparel.com, you can shop our promo code 3MW at checkout, 15% off. That'll get you. They always have great deals on the site. Take advantage and shop the millions of schools on homefieldapparel.com. Home field, wear one for the team. Okay, three man thoughts. Who wants to start us off?
You do.
Okay, I will.
Oh, I was ready actually.
Were you ready?
But
Well,
but
too
you've
bad.
got but you've got three, Kai. So I like you starting.
I just have
We
two
each have
actually.
two. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I do have two. They're not long, but maybe a little lengthier than normal. Iowa State is where we're going to start off. We teased it in the We Saw That section. They're insanely good. Watch them a little bit now. I don't know if they have a weakness. That's where I'm going to start off. What is their weakness? We talked about how they smoked Purdue, and even though they struggled at first against Iowa, they came back, and Iowa's a very good team. They won, and they're murdering everybody else. The defense we knew was going to be good, but it's been awesome. They'd be the best defense in the country if Michigan wasn't from another planet right now. They're number two right now in KenPom. Josh Jefferson is playing like an All-American. He's number two right now in KenPom Player of the Year. Lipsy has rediscovered his fastball after the weird, he's been kind of hurt season. He has a 27% assist rate. He has a 4% turnover rate. His assist turnover ratio is 9.5 to 1, 38 assists to 4 turnovers. It's shades of Monty Morris we're getting from Lipsy.
I have a question. How many of those assists are where he just throws it to uh, Momo, and who just shoots a turnaround
Yeah,
360, 720
counts.
fadeaway and it goes in? But like, it still counts. I'm kidding. Lipsy's awesome. I'm not questioning Lipsy. I'm just saying I feel like it helps to have a guy who just makes crazy shots like that on your
Yeah.
wing.
Speaking of Momo, Momchilovich, he's a star. He's a freaking star. 54% from three. He doesn't miss. I think Blake Buchanan's been pretty good for them. Their coaching, of course, is great. And Killian Torre, he might be better than Keyshawn Gilbert slash Curtis Jones. Pick your player, which is crazy to me. He's awesome. Freshman from, I think he's French, I believe.
Yeah, but he played
French,
at he
yeah.
played at Brewster Academy. They told a
Yeah.
good story last night on the broadcast of somebody like saw one of the other international guys saw him at Basketball Without Borders. The Brewster Academy coach went and got him. And like the first practice, Brewster's point guard is Ibuka Okori, the one at Stanford, who's a stud.
Mhm.
Torre like picked him up for 94 feet. And was Okori was like, "Who the hell is this freak?" And he is a monster defender. Like Lipsy gets to be the free safety now because they can just have Toure be the on-ball
Mhm.
demon. Throw him at Braden Smith, throw him at Bennett Sturts, and let Lipsy kind of just lurk around. That's so dangerous having that twosome to go with their interior fortitude.
Right. Having two is what's key. Like at most teams have a ball handler, some have two, but no one has like three. So you can kind of shut off water at two key creating points. And then what Jefferson and Buchanan do on the back end. Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
if there's a weakness, I don't think there is one. I
I
think
don't
if you
know.
look at the trajectory of their last few seasons, they have kind of like leveled off a little bit late in Big 12 play. Like maybe it's hard to maintain this level of. I think there's just sort of maybe a slight wear and tear of playing harder than your opponent, which is kind of their superpower in the dog days of February. But I mean, they haven't like totally bottomed out. They just I think hit like their peak in other years before this earlier, like we're seeing now. But I don't know if we've ever seen the peak this high. So maybe this year has a different trajectory. Maybe they didn't
Yeah.
look this dominant all throughout conference play. I don't know.
It's actually what I was going to finish with. We know they usually have a ceiling. I don't think we've ever thought like, oh, championship team Iowa State. I think they are this year. I think they have that
I
ceiling
agree.
because their offense is way better than it's ever been under Otzelberger. Because I think Momchilovich is a legit pro now. I think Jefferson could be a pro as well. And then you got good Lipsy and good Torre. And again, Blake Buchanan is not a zero. It's just been an impressive team. And I really do think they have Final Four championship upside.
Yeah, like the difference between what Cam Boozer is doing and Josh Jefferson is doing is not that big right now. Like that's why he's number two in Ken Pom Player of the Year, as you mentioned. But Boozer's just getting a few more rebounds, But like Jefferson handles the ball, he breaks you down off the bounce. Like their go-to offense late last night against Iowa was just ISO Josh Jefferson at the top of the key. Like he's not a big man that needs the ball in the post. He can handle it from the perimeter. Great passer, great off the like actual has dribble moves. He has just gotten better and better and better. And he hit a few big threes last night when nobody else on that team could. I fully believe like first team All American. And yeah, they've got
Mhm.
national title ceiling now. I don't think they'll shoot 43% from three this year.
Probably not.
Jefferson and Momcilovic are combined like 53%, but I think they still have that ceiling even without that.
God, I
Did
love
one of
Jefferson.
did one of you have him on All-American, Matt? Did you? Were you
I think
bold?
me and Jim both got cute, didn't we? For honorable mention.
I'll have to look.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I
Yeah,
love
I
when I
ranked
don't
him
remember my
very
takes.
highly in our top
you
100
did.
players. I think I was the only one that ranked him higher than Lipsy. So boom, suck it.
I know. I
Yeah.
was gonna say he's their best
Lipsy's
player.
having a
It's
great
not
year.
Lipsy.
Lipsy's having a great
Lipsy's the
year.
heart and soul guy. He's great, but Jefferson's their best player.
Excuse me, 10-1 turnover assist ratio. He's pretty good. Uh, I love that he's their point guard. Yeah, he's just awesome. Okay, that's my thought. Iowa State. Go watch them if you haven't. They're really awesome. Matthew, okay, are you ready now? Catch the ball.
Yes. I two of my thoughts are just kind of more macro things. There's been some good. Uh, Jordan Sperber did a good breakdown of of kind of the evolution of team building. I saw, I think Tom Haberstroh did something for in the NBA talking about offensive rebounding, which will kind of be more of my second thought. But there's been some good kind of like the way the game is changing, both at the NBA and college, sort of mirrors that. But from the college lens, kind of picking or piggybacking off what Sperber broke down, talking about how bigger is better, teams playing with two true bigs, in some cases three quote unquote quasi bigs, if you want to call Yaxel Lindeborg a big for Michigan.
I would. I
Florida,
would call him a big. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Howe, Florida, I would call him probably a big. Um, so it sort of feels like, it was just a couple years ago, it was about pace and four out and one in, right? Four guards, and do you have kind of those power or wings that can rise up, but then create mismatches. And I'm just looking at the top 25 teams in Ken Palm, and not an exact science here, but the teams that aren't really following this bigger is better trend are the following: Vandy, Louisville, Texas Tech, interesting this year. Kentucky, which could change depending on when they get healthy. Maybe Pope goes to more of a too big look, and then Indiana. Um, and I'm kind of like bookmarking these teams as like I'm just interested to see how they hold up in conference play against a lot of the other teams in their weight class that are kind of embracing bigger is better size, not just at the 5, 4, and 3, but even at the 1 and the 2. I mean, Duke's length's incredible. Obviously, that's a good example there. But thoughts on this collection of teams, and if there's one you're buying more long term, which one do you think it is? Or just better question might just be like, do you think these teams are inherently more flawed or higher risk to go out early or to flatline because they don't have that same size that it seems like is where the marginal edge is developing in college basketball? I guess the NBA too, to that degree.
I think a common thread. I don't know if it's cause of being not as big. None of these teams, maybe Texas Tech's the exception, are great defensive teams right now. They're geared towards explosive offense, pace, run and gun, and the defensive ends where they fall short, and that's often the downfall of these type of teams in a tournament setting, falling short of the Final Four. I say Tech's an exception because I think they're a little bit better on the defensive end, and JT Toppin's kind of a different animal inside, and I love Christian Anderson, but the Vannies and Louisvilles of the world, I get a little worried about them in the tournament. Of course, they can make runs; they're freaking awesome. In Indiana, certainly against. We'll see what they do against the real Big Ten front lines.
Yeah, Indiana's probably the one I'm most worried about in this regard because, like, even their one big, Alexis, isn't like a huge,
Yeah, he didn't
towering
really,
7 footer
yeah.
type. And I think Bailey's really going to struggle against Big Ten bigs. He hasn't impressed me against Power Five competition. Texas Tech is interesting, guys. It's the team I like kind of gravitated to here. Obviously, I picked them to win the title in the preseason, so maybe I'm clinging to hope. But their defense when Bamgoy and Toppin share the court is like best in the country, 100th percentile per CBB analytics. It is like impossible to score on them, but their offense has sucked so far when those two share the court. So they haven't been able to create good shots. They haven't seen an uptick in offensive rebounding, which you would kind of think with
That,
both those guys on
yeah,
the floor. And they're going to have to figure out that combination, I think, to hit their ceiling because that defense, like the way it amps up with both of them. But You got to be able to score too.
And I think if you're going to go bigger and you can't win on the offensive glass, and it sort of negates the advantage that you're supposed to have, right? Like that's talk about the formula to make the title or to make the Final Four. You have to be balanced. What was it the top 40? You're always top 30 or top 40. So if you go bigger, you usually can. That's where you get your defensive length, but you got to get to the offensive glass. That usually comes with a trade off of probably poor shooting or lack of spacing. But yeah, I don't know, just interesting. At Texas Tech jumped out to me too because I think we kind of view them in a different light, but they are really more of a 4 out 1 in type team this year with the way they're constructed, unless that lineup that Jim talked about.
Very good, Matthew.
And that is my thought.
Jim's turn.
Part one, kind of.
My turn. We're going to talk about the other undefeateds because I think Michigan, Iowa State, Duke, Arizona, they get a lot of love. Vandy is getting there with it's kind of like the hipster undefeated that teams love and or that people love, and we've given them quite a bit of accolades here on this pod. But Nebraska and Oklahoma State both sitting undefeated as well right now. I'm going to throw some shade at Miami, Ohio, who's also undefeated, but they
Oh,
have
wow.
played the most embarrassing schedule you can possibly put together. They've played two non-D1s. They've only played three teams in the top 200. Excuse me, in the top 300. They played three teams in the top 300. So they haven't beaten anybody that is like that matters to me. So I'm not really going to give them a lot of hype or buzz here. But Nebraska and Oklahoma State, it's your time. We get to discuss you here. The Huskers, man, Rink Mast is the trigger man. It's so awesome to see him back healthy. He's become like not just can make a shot, but like a high volume, take five threes a game and make 40% of them type. Fulcrum inside. He's also still a great rebounder, great verticality guy defensively. Then you've got Peyton Sandfort and Braden Frager just like bombing away on the wings, spacing it out. Their ball movement is fantastic. It's always been like kind of what Hoiberg's had going for him is you get playmaking from unconventional spots, different spots in the lineup, and you get shooting around it. The defense like can be risky. They just let you go over the top, take a ton of threes, but they do force turnovers while not fouling, which is a really rare combination. Matthew, Nebraska, a cute fun story or legit top 30 team? That's my question.
Both.
Okay. Cool.
More, sorry, I'm not both. I'll say a kind of a hybrid. I don't think they're any better than like 25th. I think there is a ceiling. I think they are pretty much at it. Um, but yeah, it's just seeing Mask back and awesome is great. I just think that's so fun for just a good story. And there's no player I thought more about in my player ranking this offseason than Rick Mast. I was like, man, this guy could be awesome, but is he healthy? Is he good? And yeah, he's just been um, new level. And their portal work was excellent. I think Hoiberg did a great job in building what I kind of an unorthodox perimeter around an unorthodox hub like Mast.
I can't believe Kendall Blue's a nobody. That shocked me.
I know.
Really, really solid scheduling too, and they're taking advantage of
Yeah.
it in non-con this time. They're very much on pace to be a tournament team. Third tournament, by the way, since 1998. Hoiberg, they're getting rewarded too by keeping Fred Hoiberg, who we kind of wrote off
Yeah.
as he's lost it after he did the NBA thing, after we loved him at Iowa State. He's done nothing but good things the last couple of years at Nebraska, building this program into a respectable college basketball program. I'm a believer, Matt. I was a little skeptical because I don't think Creighton or Kansas State or New Mexico are that good. Oklahoma's okay, and they beat Wisconsin by 30. It's like, okay, maybe Nebraska is has got something to them.
Yeah, Wisconsin very bad away from home, but the monsoon at Pinnacle Bank when the shots are going in and the crowd is hyped is really hard to stand up against. And Creighton, Wisconsin both found that out. Now Nebraska has to go for their first true road game to Illinois, to Champaign on the weekend, and maybe this cute story gets completely destroyed by the Balkan Bros. But I think we should still acknowledge the 10-0 start and the fact that the Huskers are that legit. Now, Kai, are you going to issue an apology to top 50 Oklahoma
Hmm.
State,
Hmm.
who sits at 9-0? Now, their best wins are Northwestern in Chicago, but not at Northwestern, and then like Texas A&M at home. They're playing fast. They have a ton of depth. They're 11th in bench minutes. That's been kind of their calling card. Are you buying it or not, Mr. McEwen?
Semi. First of all, annoyed a little bit because I overrated them last year because I love Steve Lutz. I think he's a fantastic coach. I picked them higher in the Big 12 than most people did last year. This year, it appears I might have underrated them, picking them quite low in the Big 12 because I was focused on the Anthony Roy and Kanye Clary gets, who I don't think are still great gets. Anthony Roy's had a pretty good year. Clary's been horrible. I mean, shouldn't even play. But it doesn't matter though, because Parsifal has been that good, guy you mentioned, and Victorious Miller has kind of come out of nowhere for me and has been a freaking stud. I'm still holding out doubt a little bit. Again, they really haven't played anybody. A&M's been a mess, and they got them early. Northwestern, whatever. But they're winning games. You really can't fault them. I think they've done better than I expected to this point. Very curious to see how the game against OU goes. Why can't I think of the rivalry name? But that game, and then into conference play. Very curious. I'm still gonna edge on the side of not a tournament team.
Matthew?
I think tournament team.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
they're in for a little bit of a rude awakening in league play.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah, maybe
think
so.
I don't think this style is going to quite work. I think they'll be feisty, they'll be competitive. The depth will wear on some teams. They'll get a few teams at Gallagher, Iva, but uh, the interior play outside of Fala isn't awesome, and I'm a little still skeptical of the potential powder keg of Clary and Roy just wanting more shots, and if that balance continues to hold up. Victorious Miller did miss their last game. I think he's massively important. Got to get him back fully healthy. I think it's just a small knock kind of issue, but I'm not quite there with them yet. I mean, like the Coleman Bros, they're not brothers, but I like calling them that. That's a solid role player group. Lefty, a big Greek guy that came over, he's given them a nice boost, but it's a little more schedule driven to me right now. But hey, no
Hmm.
bad losses is a accomplishment when you're playing kind of volatile play.
Absolutely. Yes. Agreed. And teams that I thought would be their level are taking bad losses. So credit to, again, Steve Lutz is an awesome coach. I
Yes, he
really need
is.
to underscore that. Steve Lutz is a great coach.
All right, back to you, Kai.
Okay, my second and last thought. Eye-popping top 25 offenses. Basically, I looked at the top 25 offenses and I wanted to highlight a few because they were either intriguing to me or surprising. So the first two might not surprise many people, but I think worth noting. Baylor, number 11 right now in offense. It's not really a surprise again because Scott Drew has always done this. However, reminder, he flipped his entire roster, and it's just incredible that he has been this consistent year after year into building these juggernaut offensive teams. Yasufu, of course, they have another freshman stud who's going to be an NBA pick or a first round pick next year. Unfortunately, it's one of his worst defensive teams, and I don't feel great about Baylor long term in terms of I think they make the tournament, but I don't really see them making it that far in the tournament because the defense is so bad. But man, I've been impressed by their offense. We've talked about Cam Carr a few times, but he's had a career revival with Baylor after kind of being a nobody at Tennessee. So yeah, Baylor Bears, really good offensive team right now.
I did not expect Isaac Williams to be this good coming
He's
from
been a lot
Corpus
better than I
Christi.
expected. Yep.
He had the dunk highlight in their foreign tour this offseason, and I was like, whoa, is he going to be good? And he's leading the team in assist rate and like kind of having a higher usage than Abim surprises me. But between Carr, Yesufu, Skillings, you've got like super switchable guys that can kind of make shots, but also just attack downhill. And yeah, credit to them.
And JJ Weiss not even playing. He was Omaha's best player with Sutton last year. Heartbeat. Patino called him like the best point guard in the tournament when they played him, which is of course hyperbole, but still. Virginia at 13. John Rossi had a tweet comparing this year's Virginia's points per game to Tony Bennett's teams. I don't know if John does it tongue in cheek, but I don't. I think he's serious, and someone needs to explain pace to John. That's not the point of this section. But I do liken this team to kind of a machine. They just keep on coming on the boards. They don't make mistakes. They have very good shooters. So Virginia, I think, is legit. Top 15 offense, though. Not really what I expected preseason, but man, they've been impressive, Matt.
No, they've been very good. I was just looking at um the other top, like, as I was saying, my offensive rebounding teams. I just don't know if they worry about their depth.
You're worried about Virginia's depth?
Um in the backcourt
That's
a little bit.
That's like my last worry with them.
Well,
Hall, Mallory, White, Thomas, Lewis.
Yeah, no, they've gotten some good from these. I just against better competition. I'm not. I need to see more from 'em. I love their two big look. I'm totally in on that. I just feel like their backcourt. I know Jakaria White's like on fire. Uh,
he was on fire last year to start too,
I
and
know
continued a bit, but yeah.
yeah, but
Haven't played a top
I
40 team, to your credit, to your point. Like, we'll see it against some better
I want to
teams
see
coming
a
up.
yeah, and like Dallin Hall for example. Like I think he is a guy that looks awesome against okay players. Chance
Yeah.
Mallory, I think he's a guy that looks awesome against okay talent. I
Hmm.
think they could be awesome against really good players. I just don't know if their depth against top and con. Now the ACC though. Yeah, you're not going to see. I mean, it's better this year, but you're not seeing like SEC night in night out type teams. So they might be okay. Again, good scheduling by a smart coach.
I assume we'll circle back with them for your offensive rebounding take, but
Yeah,
the last three teams I wanted to highlight, they're all mid majors, so a little bit surprising here. Akron number 16, Colorado State number 17, Yale number 18 in offensive rating and Ken Pom. Akron, the Zips are second in the country in effective field goal percentage. They're fourth in 3 point percentage. This is John Gross's best offensive team by far. His best Illinois team was ranked 46 on offense. It's 16th right now for Akron. Obviously, shooting has a lot to do with all three of these teams, but man, the Zips are looking great. They're on pace to have their best season ever. I think Dambro had a top 50 year, but this year could really they could get there. And Gross has been talked about for higher jobs again. Which, hey man, maybe just stay at Akron and dominate. We tried the Illinois thing, it didn't really work out, but yeah, moving on
Yeah,
from them.
just his style change. Like before last year, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna hit the gas pedal, get a lot better guards, spread the floor, have some mobile forwards, and like one big that can get up and down with my style. And man, they just spread you out, play in transition. I don't know how you get stops against them. As you mentioned, 3 point percentage rather large for them. And Colorado
Yeah,
State doesn't miss threes, but yeah, it's a credit to them. They just look like a juggernaut, the clear best team in the MAC, in a MAC that's like
it's better
resurgent
better,
this year.
compared to
Yeah.
last year,
better.
but
Yep.
they're still the clear best team.
Yeah, Ali Farokhmanesh at Colorado State has not skipped a beat from Medved. I've been skeptical of this team, but last couple I'm starting to buy in. Jim mentioned they're the number one shooting team in the country right now. 45% from three is nuts. They have five guys who are over 43% on decent volume, and another guy who's at 39. So they're just kind of scorching the nets. And hey, if you shoot a high percentage in basketball from downtown, you're going to win a lot of games. And I know Matt was all over them against Colorado. It was a great call. I'm starting to buy in a little bit more on the Rams. Unfortunately, the Mountain West is not as a one team race as I was hoping this preseason when I put all my eggs in San Diego State's basket because Utah State's looking good and San Diego State has been
New
a little bit
Mexico is
meh.
starting to look very good
Mexico's
as
starting to look
well.
at UNLV is not even that bad anymore.
And the hey, our Aztecs are gonna be fine. Just
I think they will too, but I'm a little
they'll be all
nervous
right.
about it. Colorado State in Fuego. And then Yale, of course. Here's the theme. Number two in the country in 3 point percentage. They're going to blitz the Ivy. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. They might not lose a game. They had a weird loss to Rhode Island this year where they didn't even show up, but that's the only thing they had done wrong on their resume. They beat Akron, so that's pretty darn good. Nick Townsend is going to win the Player of the Year in the Ivy. He's 53% from three. He was 50% last year, albeit on low volume, but it's increasing. He's taking more threes this season. Been very impressed by them. Uh, the cherry on top, fellas, Mizzou is number 25. No, they are not. No, they are not. They are not a top 25 offense. They will soon prove that over the coming weeks and months. Okay,
Agreed.
that's my thought. Matthew, back to you.
Um, yeah. So talking about well, the thought's called crashing the glass, and I believe this has been a much discussing in the NBA and in college basketball. You're starting to see it, right? I think people realize the path to having an efficient offense isn't with skill. It can be done with. It can be done ugly. Um, Getting extra possessions, and I think it's one of the benefits of having such a big lineup. I was looking at the top offensive rebounding teams in the country right now, and I think it's a pretty interesting collection of teams. It's right. It's like Tennessee, Florida, Purdue, Virginia's five. Baylor's in there, Arizona, Villanova because they have Duke Brennan, Michigan State with their bigs. You have Columbia out of the Ivy, the Todd Golden disciple, Hovde doing the size wins. Missouri.
It's our only hope.
But the team number three I skipped over is UCF, and I feel like this is going to turn into like a Penn State discussion from me last week. Their only loss is to Vanderbilt. Okay, Vanderbilt's a pretty good team. Um, I know they played A&M when A&M was kind of bad. I know they haven't done much else really, and they don't have any actual games of significance until Kansas on January 3rd. Is there a chance this team might be a sneaky bubble team in a month or two? Do you see anything in the roster, um, anything in their formulaic approach so far this year? We know they've been playing a lot faster since last season. They kind of rechanged their offense. They hired, I think, one of the UTSA offensive court, Hood, I think was his name. Um, I don't know. I think this team has more staying power. They're a little better defensively this season, it seems, despite losing uh, Thiam to Cincy, because they are going with kind of a too big look, right? You have Stillwell, who's such a beast on the boards, and then John Bolzman, I don't know, effective-ish in his minutes up front. Is there anything here? Am I reaching with UCF? I'm trying to find teams that no one is talking about UCF. I've not heard one mention of UCF in any national forum at all, and they are.
Listen to the last stats by Will and Jim,
Oh, I haven't.
dude.
Dang it.
Just
Embarrassing
kidding.
for you.
Just kidding.
I think you're reaching a little bit, Matthew.
Okay.
A little bit. They didn't cover against Hofstra, Oakland, Quinnipiac. Those teams stuck with them for most of the game, and I think they're going to get
Humbled.
beat. Yeah, didn't they made the crown last year, right? The dumb crown thing, they
Yeah.
lost to Oregon State, I think. I think they're like 7-11 in the Big 12. I think they're like 60 in the net, and I think they'll miss the tournament. Yeah, but hey, they beat A&M at A&M. That's gonna look
That's one of
decent
those
on
one that's going to age
paper.
so well. Timing is
It'll age
everything with
well.
your schedule. Yeah.
But that's all they've played besides Vanderbilt and non-con. So I don't think it's strong enough. Combined with I don't think they're going to beat many teams in the Big 12. They'll beat Kansas at home because they always do. That's about it.
At least they came back from down 35 against Vandy to lose by 12. That probably helps the metrics as
Yeah.
well. I'm not buying them playing up just still based on their, two of their three best players being Milwaukee's two best players last year, Folks and Stillwell. And then like I buy the talent with Kugel, but he's so up and down. He's been so up and down. I think this team is kind of vibing right now, but when they lose two games in a row, it suddenly could tailspin, I think, for them. That's
Yeah.
my concern, where
That's
once it
fair.
starts not looking good, it could
Yeah.
look not good fast.
They're kind of doing the uh, scheduling lots of like Q2, Q3 games at home, right? They're not doing like Q4 like Mizzou or Iowa State. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to pay off. It feels like that's not the way to go with the way the committee looks at it. But, you can look at the end of the day, they could, I mean, Quinnipiac, Oakland, Hofstra, Towson could all be top of their leagues, right? And it could all be maybe fringe. I don't know, Q2 probably, but Q3. And again, I just think that's where those wins just get lost in the wilderness and
Yeah.
on the selection sheet, which is sad, but kind of the reality. I hope that's
It,
not the
it
case.
matters in wins above bubble, and they're
Which is hopefully
27th in the
mattering more.
country
Yeah.
right
Okay.
now. They're like way up there, despite not having like a true headliner. But beating a bunch of decent teams instead of beating a bunch of Q4s, like that actually does add up in that metric, and I'm glad it does because it should get recognized.
UCF and Kentucky. I want to see how those two teams
Hmm.
case studies for selection committee. Just we'll see how it plays out, but I hope they kind of wind up in that bubble turf and
Jim, I want to throw in. I'm aware Kansas beat UCF by 50 last year at UCF, but they lost the year before. So that's what I was referring to before the
Okay.
Jayhawk fans, the millions that listen to this podcast,
Yeah,
jumped down
like,
our
don't you
throats.
remember Hunter Dickinson, Hunter getting his big win? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My last thought is just that the Big East is a big bummer, and it kind of inspired by Creighton circling the drain and Marquette becoming DePaul level bad and DePaul staying DePaul level bad. Georgetown becoming not competitive anymore this year. I'm just worried. Like, I don't know where the bids come from here. UConn, obviously awesome. St. John's is still in the top 25 in analytical rankings. But then, like, you're looking at the other teams, and where and I was talking about wins above bubble, I was looking that up for this. St. John's is 55th. Like, they're not exactly a safe team in the NCAA tournament right now. Seton Hall is second behind UConn at 28th in wins above bubble. And then you've got Villanova 50th, Butler 51st, St. John's 55th.
Oof.
Like, Providence has got no chance at the tournament. Georgetown's looking like they're going to have no chance. Creighton basically has no chance right now. It's looking bleak, and I just want to revisit the like Matt. I don't think you were on our Big East preview. How many games does UConn or do UConn and St. John's lose to the other nine teams in this
Oh
conference?
yeah, I um I do remember this discussion.
Oh, you were on it. Okay.
We at the time we thought that Butler, Georgetown, Marquette especially, good grief, and maybe Creighton would all be a lot better. As Seton Hall has been kind of the surprise, right? I think they're the surprise that feels the most real to me, frankly. Like Butler,
Yeah.
still a little bit like maybe Jalen Jackson back really means that much. I don't know. I feel like that's you still got to beat Boise at home without him. Yeah, I think St. John's and I think the Ken Pom has UConn at 16-4, St. John's 15-5. I think they're both going to go 17-3, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy.
Yeah,
Last year,
me too.
18-2 for St. John's. Um,
Like
and
Seton Hall might get you, right?
Seton
Um,
Hall will get UConn every year because they do every year.
Creighton goes
That's the
16
one
of
to
30
lose.
from three at home. That's probably a loss for one of those two teams. And then obviously Marquette, maybe they play like Marquette should play one or two times, and that's where you're. I'm just trying to think for losses. I mean, DePaul, my goodness, like are they worse than last year?
Yeah,
If they
probably.
might be.
Yeah, yeah. I think Creighton will probably finish high in the conference because they always do. But to your point, Jim, you say, when you say like no chance to make the tournament, it's because there's not a lot of opportunities for good wins in the Big
Yeah,
East.
it's over.
And you've already kind of blown your chances if you're Creighton in the non-con. You don't really have great games left. And then it's all Big East. And if you don't beat UConn and St. John's, you're kind of screwed. So it really is shaping up to be a two-team league, which is crazy.
Yeah, like I guess somebody will probably go 13-7 or 12-8 in the league and maybe accumulate enough volume. And maybe it's the team that picks off UConn and that suddenly that team is
Mhm.
emerged into an actual bona fide at large. But you got to squint right now, and that's alarming for a league that
Yeah.
it should be better. And only got four teams last or five teams last year and three teams the year before. It's trouble times, troubled times.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah.
Fellas, I got to open
Yeah.
presents. I'm sorry. I'm
All
All
right,
bailing.
right,
we'll
man.
let you go
Thanks for
after
joining us,
this is
Matt.
three-man thoughts. Kai and I'll power through previews and reviews. Let's do it,
Okay, here we
Kai.
go. Game previews. We don't need to talk about Texas UConn tonight, really, Jim. I actually think Texas is going to hang with them. I know that takes might age poorly. Um, it's like a 16-point spread. I think Texas will sneak inside the number. They're
Yeah,
big.
Sean Miller going back to Big East opponent. Yeah.
Vokiitis is going to get Terrace Reed in foul trouble, and that's about all I want to say on Texas UConn. I'm very disappointed with Texas after the Virginia game. But hey, they beat NC State. They're not horrible. They hung with Duke for 30 minutes. I think they're okay.
Yeah, I don't think this is the 2024 Sean Miller goes to UConn and loses by 43.
Uh,
That was an
yeah,
embarrassment.
yes, agreed. Okay, some actual games here. Arizona, Alabama is going to be a lot of fun. It's in Birmingham, so not a true home game for Alabama. And of course, again, we'll talk about these games in detail on our Best Bet show tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central. I'm just looking forward to watching this game, frankly. I probably won't have a wager, but it's twos versus threes. Arizona Jim mentioned earlier in the show, only one team in the country is shooting less or shooting a lower rate of threes than Arizona. It's not like they don't have shooters. They just don't do it. They're so dominant inside they don't need to. Whereas Alabama, it's every single possession's a three. They're going to take 33s a game. Arizona's defense is awesome, Jim, but I think shooting the long ball kind of negates their effectiveness a little bit. Very curious. I think Alabama has a fighting chance here.
I'm going Arizona. The twos have it for
Okay.
me. I think the
Ooh.
consistency, like the way they will live on the offensive glass here is going to be staggering. I mean, Purdue did this to Alabama, like beat them up with twos and was able to extend and seize control late. Alabama's still pretty banged up too. Like I don't know if Holloway's going to be close to full health. Right cell's dealing with stuff. Bull Bowen missed last game. Bristow missed last game. They did get Jaleel Bethea back, and that adds another major offensive cog. He hit five threes against UTSA. I just like think they're a little unsettled with the rotation, trying to figure out who's healthy, who's not. And Arizona is steamrolling. But I believe Matthew Winnick tweeted this is the highest fan match score for a game in non-conference in college
Really?
hoops in Ken Palm's history. Yeah,
Wow.
over 91. I mean, because tempo is factored into that, evenness of
Oh,
opponents factored into that. So this game's projected to be 87-86. It's going to be awesome.
Should be a great game. I think we'll be on a bar crawl, Jim. So hopefully, let's find a bar with a TV.
Sure will, Kai. Sure will. Well, it's at 8:30 p.m. Central.
Oh, okay.
Gonna post
Well,
bar crawl. We'll settle somewhere
I might
convenient.
not be able to see by that point, anyways. So,
Oh, cool guy.
okay. Kansas, NC State. Very curious if NC State turned a corner by beating Liberty by 40, or if they just had one of those games. I watched the entire game because I was on Liberty and I was forcing myself to endure the pain. Liberty shot horrible. It's the worst I've ever seen them play in Richie McKay's entire history. They're a very good team. NC State decimated them. I don't think they can do the same against Kansas, who is a legit defensive team. I mean, they are awesome defensively, Jim. My one concern is Darren Peterson healthy? He came back against Mizzou, but then he went out with a quad thing. I don't know if that was like precautionary, probably is, but it seems like his handlers are treating him like he's made of glass. So I don't know if he's going to play a lot or be fully healthy for this game. If he is, I think Kansas probably gets it done. I don't really think NC State is necessarily turned a corner with Asheville and Liberty after losing to all their big opponents. But what do you think?
I think NC State gets one here.
Okay.
Coming to a big weekend environment in Raleigh. They're not gonna like Bill Self's not gonna be out coach, so there's no like edge with Will Wade kind of changing up. He's tried everything defensively, like switching everything, hard hedging. Probably hasn't tried a bunch of drop because they don't have a good drop defender to absorb drives at the rim. But they at least looked like way more energized against Liberty and like they were having fun together. And Kansas will frustrate that with their incredible defense. They're going to have to manufacture some shots over the top. And if Kansas is hot, that's a problem because NC State gives up a ton of threes. But this is kind of gut for me. I think the Wolfpack get the one win to feel legitimized. VCU and Boise State wins aren't quite doing that right now.
No. How about Texas Tech, Arkansas, and Dallas? Very excited for this game as well. Texas Tech, yeah, I think they need this win. They've lost to Illinois and Purdue. It's like, okay, not bad. Two top 10 teams, but their wins aren't like Wake, LSU might not be tournament teams. Everyone else is not a high
Barely
major.
beat Wyoming. The Jeff
Yeah,
Linder game. He couldn't put away his
it's
old school.
it's a little concerning. We've talked about their scoring issues, and Arkansas has a lot of size to throw at Toppin. I don't think Trayvon Brazil has a chance against Toppin personally, but he impressed me against Louisville. I will give him that. I like Texas Tech a little bit better in the front line than Louisville. And Arkansas has been a little more impressive than I expected, Jim, but I think Texas Tech gets this one done.
I think Texas Tech wins too. I know that there will be a clip of Brazil getting a highlight reel block on top, and you're going to get that shoved in your face for saying he's got no chance against him. But yeah, it's semi-homish. I think there'll be a very pro-Texas crowd, even with Arkansas traveling extremely well. But yeah, this one's more about just like I trust the guards a little bit more on Texas Tech. Acuff and Brown can be really up and down. No, Acuff and Thomas, excuse me, not Brown. Malik Brown, that's somebody, right?
Yes, Malik Brown.
Plays for Duke. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, that's why I was thinking Malik in my head. Okay, we're back on track here, but I just think Anderson and some of the shooting that Texas Tech has started to get, they're not at their peak version, but they've got everybody but Mosley back. So they've got Petty, Bryan, Atwell. Bamgoy is starting to get a little bit into the flow of things. Watts is playing a little bit better after his absolute nightmare poop on the floor performance against Purdue. So
Get Swifty.
yeah. I mean, Kai, I'd said it on Sunday. I kind of didn't bet much Sunday, but I was like, how do I not have 15 units on Texas Tech in a game that was near Pick'em per Ken Palm? I think it got up to 7 in the market. People were
Yeah,
wise
I bet it.
to it. Hey, you're a smart man. And they won by 24, and it
Yeah.
was like the most obvious fraud team versus team that's going to figure it out. And the figure it out team did do so. But against Arkansas, who's got athleticism and size, Texas Tech's going to have to win with execution. And with McCasland, I think they can do that.
It's always, I hate the mindset of, I should have bet more when you win a game. Because that's all I thought about Texas Tech when they won and App State last night. It's like, I should have bet more. Be happy with the win. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Lastly, on Sunday, we won't talk about this one tomorrow. We'll talk about it briefly today. St. Mary's and Boise. Interesting game because Well, first of all, St. Mary's, I think, will end up getting an at-large just because they'll run through the WCC against teams not named Gonzaga, and they have enough meat a little bit on their resume, but they could really use this win to kind of solidify that. Boise, on the other hand, despite the D2 loss, which I don't think it doesn't count on their resume, they're not dead for an at-large if they have a good Mountain West season with the win at Butler. This game's going to be probably pretty ugly. It's two very good defensive teams. It's two teams that don't necessarily get up and down, and it's going to be an interesting battle on the glass gym because Boise, one of those teams that you can't really bully on the boards. That's kind of been St. Mary's bread and butter. They play through the post. They're methodical, half court offensive style. Ultimately, I like the Morauskas Mikey Lewis combo a little bit better for St. Mary's than I do Boise's top guys. I'm going the Gales here. This one is in Idaho Falls, by the way, a neutral site in Idaho. Give me St. Mary's.
Yeah, I'm taking the Gales too. A little bit of revenge. They lost in overtime in Idaho Falls last year to Boise, 59 to 59 at the end of regulation. Like exactly what you would picture between these two,
Woof.
a half court slog. I think Lewis and Morauskas are carrying that a little bit. I'm sure Randy Bennett's got some great tweaks. Leon Rice is an excellent coach too, but I think St. Mary's is much closer to a finished product and has a little bit more of an identity established, whereas Boise I think benefited in the Butler game with no Jackson being out there, uh, Butler not having a point guard. St. Mary's does not have that problem. I'll take the Gales by like 8 to 10 here, Kai.
Ooh, love it.
Yep.
Okay. Join us tomorrow, Saturday, Best Bet Show, 10 a.m. Central for betting breakdowns of those games and more. Let's get to reviews, Jim, and finish off the podcast. Matt had to go open presents with his daughter. It's her birthday. Again, happy birthday to Matt's daughter. Baby Cox. Okay. Mikey Cash Play. Love the show. Can you go back to Thursdays? Is what he says. Started listening to us 2 years ago. Listens every week. Enjoys the Saturday YouTube betting show, which is fantastic. Thank you, Mikey Cash Play. Asks if we can go back to Thursday, not Friday, because he ends up listening to us for over 2 hours on a Saturday due to timing in his schedule. And though he loves us, Jim, he says it's hard to carve out 2 hours on a Saturday, which I totally get. He says he'll listen regardless, but he requests humbly to move back to Thursdays.
I like when we do Thursdays. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
And it's typically another work from home day for you, so you're able to
typically,
knock it
yes.
out early.
Yes.
We'll have to consult Matt because, we got to move heaven and earth to fit something in his schedule. So,
Matt doesn't even know his schedule. So, Mikey Cash Play, we'll talk to Matt, but we'll see. We'll see. Appreciate the feedback, though, regardless.
yes.
Kevin J9, best pod. He says we're the best. Hooray. Excited for you guys to start the weekly best bets again. Yes, we did. What longer future bets do you guys like this year? I should have prepped for this. He says I'm kicking in myself for not betting Sparty 70 to 1, but agree with Jim about them being at their best right now and not in the future. I just don't know if Cooper and Kohler front court with mediocre shooting gets it done. 6 games in March. He said he's trying to add a couple more long shots to his portfolio before they drop. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate the question, Kevin. I actually just added Iowa State yesterday or 2 days ago at 15 to 1. I thought I picked off a pretty good price there in the market. Could have gotten them better the preseason, but I think that team is
Yeah,
legit.
45 to 1 right here. What's
Yeah.
up?
And they were priced as like the 10th or 15th best team. I after watching the Purdue game, I was pretty convinced. You know what I wouldn't do, Jim? I wouldn't take Michigan 4 to 1. I understand that they're dominating teams. That's crazy to me. I wouldn't take any team at those odds. Duke was the most dominant team we've seen in years, and they didn't win last year. It's just tough to justify a 4 to 1 bet in college basketball with how much crazy stuff can happen. Have you found
Yeah.
any long shot bets, Jim, that you like
And how much
in this
time
short
is
time?
left in the season for them to like no, no, I can't get it pulled up right now because I bought a new computer and all my like old
Hooray.
sites are not saved anymore. So Caesars like wants me to join and I just don't have time to do that while we talk about it. Texas Tech dipped down into some value. I don't mind that. I mean, like I don't think Nebraska can win the title, but they're a top 30 team with like 100 to 1 to make the Final Four. I think at Hard Rock, somebody sent me that I'm intrigued by wherever Virginia's still at. I think Virginia's ceiling is high, high.
75
So
to 1, Jim. 75 to 1 Virginia, 100 to 1
I,
Iowa,
I
maybe.
don't know if Iowa's ceiling is quite there, but like Virginia has the size, skill, coach combination that I think is really intriguing. I don't know if Iowa has like the physicality size to do that.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nebraska's 250 to 1, to your point.
yeah, if you can find like they're the kind of team I'd want more like to make the Final Four
Yeah.
rather than to win the title. I don't know, Kai. There's not a lot that like teams that have been surging forward that
In
actually intrigue me too much.
heck, Vanderbilt's 40 to 1 at DraftKings. They might be better
That's
other
not bad.
places.
They're
They're
like a
top 10
legitimate
right now
top
in
10
KenPom.
team. Yeah.
Probably the best value on the board. Okay, JFogue6, the season of giving, continually providing top of the market content. He says Three Man Weave provides, oh, sorry, the content that we provide to Basket Under Review scratches the itch, the college basketball itch, in ways that he could not fathom. Appreciates us. Great. Fantastic. Holiday season. He says it seems like winning bets are being taken for granted right now. Yes, bad beats are all around. This is not so jolly, he says, of a season. What is a bad beat either this year or before that you'll never forget? I think the famous one we've mentioned before is the handshake line beat, Jim, where was it Kentucky and
Texas A&M, Buzz
A&M?
Williams was shake, or maybe it was Virginia. It was when he was at Virginia Tech. It might
Virginia.
be that
Okay.
long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Calipari was shaking hands with Buzz Williams, and then the score changed by 3 points. Somebody took a half quarter after they had cut away while the handshake
Yes.
was happening, and I think we had like minus 12 and a half, and it moved it from winning by 14 to winning by 11. So that one
Incredible.
will never leave my mind. And then there was like a Big West game. I think UC Santa Barbara and maybe UC Riverside, but like the team that was winning was up by 4 and was inbounding the ball with like 1 second left. And I think I had a minus 3.5 or something. And the inbounder just panicked, threw it right to an opponent waiting. Like he hit a guy in stride, like a kick out three at the 3 point line. Guy just caught it, shot it, made it at the buzzer to win by, so they won by 1. It's
Yeah.
like all you have to do is throw that to the other end of the court, inbound it somewhere near your teammate. Instead, he passed it in stride. It was like the gun, the shooting drill, the
Yeah.
gun, just kicking it right out to the guy in the shooting pocket. So that
Oh,
one hurt.
we lost. We lost that overtime game this year, Jim. I want to say it was Boston College beat a team in overtime, or was it LSU
The
that beat
Boston
a
College
team?
lost to LSU. They were
We
seven and
had
a half point
we were
dogs.
at Boston College. They lost by 8 in overtime. Had them 7.5. The overtime
Uh,
losses are big in that sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
you just reminded me of North Carolina A&T. I believe it was the 2020 season. Yeah, they lost to Kent State. I had plus 13 and a half, and they lost by 14 in overtime.
I mean, that's impossible.
85 to 71. I
Uh,
lost that game. The next day I went on Gil Alexander's show on VSiN and he had seen that I tweeted about it. So he let me like get catharsis on
gosh.
VSiN and talk about it and lament that awful, awful loss. But yeah, the overtime ones can be the worst.
Indeed. Okay, that does it for our show. Thanks for joining, everybody. Again, we'll hopefully not be in a Zoom format forever, but TBD on that. Happy birthday to Matt's lovely daughter. Join us tomorrow, Best Bet Show, 10 a.m. Central. If you're listening on the podcast, we'll see you next week, same-ish time on YouTube and on, of course, iTunes and everywhere else. Till then, cheers. Happy holidays. Enjoy your college basketball weekend. Goodbye.
Okay. I think we're
Did
no
we do it?
longer live.